So we're back on it for part 2 of making the engine mounts up. So I've got the engine on a stand holding the trans up at the back. Right there, as you can see. And then I've got the jack on the front of the stump with a bit of wood. And got a wee block holding it there just to get it nice, square and flat. So the motor is sitting at exactly where I want it, right there. It's dead level down the original part of the tunnel. I'll show you. As you can see there, that's dead level. Measured it, dead level to run to the drive shaft. So we have to chop a wee bit of his bad cross member that he's made, whatever the hell that's going on there, the old owner. But as you can see there, the headers just fit. Have to whack them off. We'll probably put V-bands on them, to be honest. Bring up to 3 inch because it's only 2.5. And big pipes on it. Obviously we're gonna run pipes out there like that, then out the side on both sides. Just one, so we can run the pipes out one side only to get that nice lumpy sound. But yeah, it's got clearance on the sump there. Obviously got the plates welded on. So we're gonna make some brackets and make the rest of the mounts up. We've got our material for starting to make engine mounts now. So we've got some decent thick angle iron. Drill some holes in there. That's going to bolt onto the block like that on either side. And then got a roll cage tube that's going to weld to there. Something like that. And then we've got, obviously that's going to weld to there like that. And then we've notched it. So that'll go on there like that. And we'll cut it a bit shorter. Cap the ends off. And they're gonna get welded. Oh shit, I'm not even videoing it. So that's the plates, that's gonna be the mount, and then that's gonna be the end of the mount, and these are gonna get welded to the chassis rails down there, you know, like that. And then we're gonna cap these, and then drill a hole through it, and that's gonna support our mounts. So we'll get the holes drilled in these, and then I can work out where I can weld these plates on and start making a couple more of these up. So yeah, it's not actually too bad. It's gonna work pretty well. So we're finishing these engine mounts off. We just got the old MIG welder out and made these up here. So just a big massive heavy washer, and it's gonna sit like there, like that, and like that. And then the bolt's gonna go through there. That ain't gonna work. Needs to be drilled a bit bigger. But that there's the right hole. We'll get the drill and drill it out back in the drill press, and then plates are going to weld to the chassis rails, and then our mounts are going to go from there to the engine. So we'll get them drilled out a wee bit bigger, another mil bigger, and then tack them onto the chassis rails, and then start making some mounts. We're starting on the passenger side mount, so you can see down there I have got that mount all tacked in there, and it obviously it unbolts. I've notched that end and then cut that one there on an angle. I'm about to test fit it for the first time. Yeah, perfect, look at that. It sits there nicely, eh? So I'll get that there tacked in there, and then pull it off and weld her up. You can't get any better than that, like it's perfect. So we'll do that, then make one for the other side. So we've welded that mount in there now. So we've just welded in there, haven't pulled it out to weld her up properly yet. But I'll show you under here. Get the old torch. As you can see there, I've just welded it around there for now. So I've got some nice welds on there, so it's going to hold it until we pull it off and weld her up properly. So what we'll do now is mirror that and make it on the other side. How good. And just like that, 10 minutes later, we've got mount number 2 on. So got a few wee welds around there just to hold it in place for now. You see from underneath. We better get onto our cross member next and make that up. You can see there, it's got a couple of welds from underneath. Obviously we're going to pull it off and weld her up when they're out. because it's pretty hard to weld her up in place. It's going to be a lot easier to do it. Now we're on to the cross member. It's going to be pretty basic. Obviously it doesn't require syrup. That was their old setup there, pretty rangy. That's pretty unhealthy. But I've just got this bit of box section. Gonna cut it halfway there, and then C-notch it, and then weld a plate in there, and then that'll be perfect. Then with a bolt in there, cap the ends off. You know, it'll look pretty nice, painted black. So we've obviously started on our cross member. We've cut that out, just notched it out, cut that wee plate out there out. And I'll just make that in. And once I've got that made in, I can cut some wee squares for there, and then put some caps on the end, and then drill the holes for the cross member and drill the holes to mount to the body. And then that's that job done. So we've got the old cross member all made. Got it all drilled in there. It's all mounted, solid mounted, because it's burnout Kali one. Nice and solid to make the chassis nice and stiff too, you know. So what we'll do now is drill a hole in there, and on the other side, and put the bolts through the pipe on the inside of the floor. So yeah, how good. So just like that, motor's all mounted, trans all mounted, mounts are all in. Just obviously tacked to the meantime, but it's enough to hold it for now. Until we get the motor out and weld them up properly. Cross member's all done. So it's just got one bolt on the other side's enough for this thing. We might put a wee bit of rubber in there just to soften it up a wee bit, because normally you do run a rubber mount, but this thing's solid. Like, the chassis is not very strong, so you want it to be pretty solid. Like, it's all been chopped up. Get your finger in there. Yeah, so the motor and the trans holds the whole car together pretty much for strength wise. So yeah, what we'll get on to now is probably chop the flange off that header and kick it down that way a wee bit, put a V-band on it, go 3-inch, and then the other side cut the collector off, obviously because it hits the bear housing on that side. Obviously the headers are right hand drive headers. I don't know what it is, but if it's trans, it might not be left-hand drive. It's one or the other. It's backwards, so that means them headers hit where the starter motor goes. So I'll get the starter in there, bolt it up, and then work out a fair idea of where the header's gonna go. And then we'll get them fitting. What we're gonna do is some pretty cool boom tubes out the side, so it's gonna sound pretty bloody awesome with them boom tubes. And next we'll get onto the diff. So see, it's got a mini spool in there. Obviously got to build the diff up, and once we've got the diff in there, we can go holler and get a drive shaft made. So it's not going to be very long, as you can see, just there to there. Yeah, and then start running battery cable through the car, fuel lines, and then wire it. There's not too much really to go. Like, the biggest thing's probably going to be mounting the pedal box, the longest thing. It's easy for me to do, but it's probably the most time consuming thing. Pedal box, brake lines, brake hoses. I've already got that caliper there bolted on, as you can see there. Brand new caliper that we found in the box, so there's 2 of them to go there. Got to sort out some pads, obviously make the old brake lines up, but that's not a problem for us. We've gone ahead, chopped that 4-into-1 bit off, so it's just that. So obviously it goes 3-inch down to 2.5. 2.5 ain't gonna cut it for us. So 3-inch will just slip on there, and with a V-band on there, we'll do the same on the other side, and it's gonna work real well. So here we have it. We got the engine mounted in there, put the headers on now. So we've got both sides in there. It's clearance, got clearancing room. Got the old motor on there too, so we've got to wait for our front snout to go onto the crank, and then we can set our depth, so where that bolts, and then make a bracket from there to, let's say, here. Then put an adjuster on the bottom so it's easy as. Obviously the radiator, the output for the bottom hose is on this side, and that was screwed in there. And the plus side of having one of these electric water pumps is that you can go on both sides, so you can see that fitting right there. So let's screw that out and we'll wind that in. And then boom, the hose will be on that side. So that's real cool. Got a nice serviceable fuel pump. So get that sitting in there too, and we'll have to get some fittings first. Probably just gonna run dash 8 PDFE hose with decent fittings throughout the car. So we'll run a bulkhead in the firewall, and then in the boot also, but also for the boot it hasn't got a firewall for a fuel tank, so we're gonna have to get a bit of alloy and fabricate one of those up. Yeah, so we've already got fuel line. Got heaps of it there that I ordered for the Skyline, so more than enough. We'll just use some of that on this. That's all good. So next, we're going to be getting onto the diff, so that'll be in the next video. It has just got a normal 8-inch Falcon, well not a Falcon, a Mustang diff, sorry. So it's just a 8-inch Mustang diff. Looks like a 9-inch, but until I seen the head, that's only a little wee 8-inch, so yeah. What are we going to do about locking it? You can't get to the spider gears, so probably going to pull it apart and see if we can fit that mini spool that it's got sitting in the diff head at the moment. But yeah, obviously got the cross member, it's all mounted, sorting out the pipes now, so we need to get some stainless ordered, some bends and some straights, so we'll start making it. As you can see there, I've chopped that end off, all that there, and we're going to put a sleeve of 3-inch onto there with a V-band, because that's only 2 1/4, so it's way too small. So we're going to make a pipes go out there, and then boom, straight out there, out the side. It's going to sound pretty tough, that's for sure. But yeah, we got a bit of work done. Not even a week's worth of work after hours. So we've only put, as you can see here, I got a wee diary, how many hours I've actually done on the car. So I've only done 3 days. So I've only done about 7 hours worth of work. So not that much work to get it into the stage. Well, the biggest thing was obviously getting the engine mounted, trans mounted, clearance in the sump all wee bit, well, getting it so it's got clearance in the sump, and getting the headers fitting properly. You know, there's a lot of fiddling around, pulling the motor in and out, you know. Obviously we started in there with just the engine, then pull the engine out, put the trans on, make the mounts up, pull the engine out, put it back in, then pull it over, pull the headers on, because obviously you can't put the headers on when the engine's bolted in. You gotta jack the engine up and have it off the mounts, push it to one side so you get the headers on. There's no room. It's a small car, obviously. It's only a wee Mk2 Escort, you gotta remember. Obviously this side's got more room because we don't have that tower there for the brake cylinder, which bolts in there. So yeah, so there's not a whole lot of room. I reckon we could probably get a wee bit more. We're trying to give this side less room, but I don't think it's going to happen. So we can have more room for the pedal box. But we could probably push a wee bit down the back there so we can get more foot room. But yeah, we'll pretty much get into a stage now. Obviously we'll do some work on it this weekend. Probably start making some, shaping the radiator hoses up and getting the diff head in, building the diff up with the mini spool, measuring a drive shaft, sorting out UJs. You know, we want to run 30 and 50 UJs, and so we don't want to run the wee 30 and 10s. You want a decent shit in there so it won't break. Yeah, and then ordering parts really, like we're going to pull the engine out one more time. That time is to put the front snout on it, make the alternator up out of the car, put the oil cooler on, probably have to run a shallower oil filter, put the torque converter flow on, put new fittings in the trans, a new dipstick in the trans, all that sort of stuff. Obviously a throttle cable, we're going to make just a cable. We won't be able to run a linkage of this, it's going to be way too much work. And then once we got that done, we'll just make some more lines up for the trans cooler and the oil cooler, which are going to mount in there. And then we can get on to finishing off the radiator hoses for the top, getting some bungs for the intake, and get an oil pressure gauge in there. Obviously, water pressure gauge, water temperature gauge. So, and yeah, we're getting into this pretty well. Like, obviously, got to order a shift cable for it. There's a lot of shit we've got to order. Like, I want to order a decent carb. That's gonna be $1,500. Decent torque converter. That's $1,000. You know, there's half the budget got in parts there. So we're sorted by gauges, but we're gonna make it work. We're gonna make it work for him to the budget. So yeah, be tuning for the next episode, and we'll probably have the headers all made, and the diff in, and the drive shaft all measured up. Probably get some aluminium for the back firewall, and run some fuel lines on the car. Obviously, it's just got a feed. No need for a turn with a carby and a mechanical pump. So get some fittings there, some dash 8 fittings, and then obviously next time we got the motor out, we can notch that there so we can fit the carb in there properly with this 2-inch spacer. Yeah.